This is my Mazda MX-5 Mark III 2-litre Roadster 2007. I did a video a few weeks back showing how I permanently fixed the water ingress problem into the footwell. If you look at the video, you'll see the problem was under here. So if you go on the YouTube, you'll see my solution. But also I shortly after realised there was water getting into the rear of the passenger seat. So after a little bit of investigation, I came up with a solution. I'm going to show you what my answer to the problem was. It was all to do with blocked up roof drain tubes, and they're difficult to find, but I'll try and show you how you locate them. It's just at the back of the passenger seat. It's a mirror image on the driver's side. If I just enlarge that a little bit, you'll see the hole, and also just make note of that little tube that doesn't go into the hole. I'll explain what that does later. But in arriving at a solution, firstly it's necessary to understand how the system works. Water accumulates on the roof, runs down the rear window into this rubber drainage channel, which goes all the way along the back of the car, and it exits there. Also, there's an additional drainage tube, starts here and goes along and goes down there, and it ends up coming underneath and slightly above where the drainage hole is. So I'll tell you a little bit more about my solution in a second, but at least you understand how the system works. Obviously, once the water drips out of that tube, it will go down into the drain tube, which will exit underneath the vehicle. A little more about that in a minute or two. I'm working a little bit backwards here, but if you watch the end of this little video, all will become clear. What I've got here is a very coarse metallic pan scrub, and I've made it roughly into a plug shape, about 20mm diameter, and I'm going to locate this into the drain at the back of the passenger seat. If I can show you that. There we go. So as water drips down that tube, it will filter through that little metallic gauze that have pushed into that what I would call a little catchment funnel. But as I said earlier, I will explain what all that is about. Clearly, to get access to it, you need to position the roof like so to make access a little better. More later. Okay, this is a little sketch I've done explaining how the system works. And I've been able to do this because I've actually removed the drain tube from the vehicle. And I'm not shown how you do that. If you need to know, I can do a little video, but it probably takes 30 minutes to remove first time round, second time round 20 minutes. But let me explain in detail what goes on. These are the outlets from the little gully that runs along the bottom of the window and the roof. This here is the trough or funnel that is fixed into the car. This is nothing more than a rubber connector. This is a little plastic piece with a rubber flap. This is just a flexible tube, and this is the bottom plastic piece with another rubber flap. So this is the top of the car. This is at the bottom of the vehicle where the water comes out. So you can clearly see what happens. We've got rainwater, debris, dust, dirt in the atmosphere that will drain down these two tubes, and then it will go down past this little rubber flap, round past this rubber flap, out at the underside of the vehicle. You may wonder why these two tubes don't go into this area here. The reason is, on the retractable hardtop, when the roof is fully retracted, it actually goes right into this space here. So it's not possible to extend this tube or this duct down there. So what tends to happen over a period of months or years, debris, dirty rainwater will come down and it will block this little rubber flap. Likewise down here, it will block that rubber flap. So water will tend to back up and eventually it will overflow from the top of this little catchment area, dish, call it what you will, and then it will run into the back of the seat, or alternatively it will run into the boot. So it's clear that we've got to ensure this is kept free of debris. Now, there's a lot of information on the internet on how you clear this, and the generally accepted method is that you can push a flexible tube with a brush from the top down past this flap and out the bottom of the vehicle, and you will see that a lot of recommendation suggests that you don't pull the flexible tube back because it will damage this flap. So what my solution is that we need to ensure these are really clean, and that's why I took them off the vehicle. And I found out the best way to clean these was to use warm water, a toothbrush and fairy liquid, and give them a really good clean out. But there's a couple of things that happened when I cleaned these out. Firstly, this little rubber flap is a very poor piece of engineering, really, and this one as well, because over a period of time they tend to become a little bit fatigued, and also they will clog up all round here, so it's not a particularly good idea. And when I cleaned the ones out on my vehicle, what I found was that there was an increase in noise which was transmitted from the bottom up just behind the area at the back of the seat, because clearly where this exits the underside of the vehicle, it's quite close to a lot of the mechanical noises, road noise, prop shaft, differential. So that's the reason why these little rubber flaps are in there, to reduce the noise, but clearly they're not that effective. So going back to the beginning of the video, this is why I thought this would be the best solution to prevent or reduce the road noise. And the plug that I mentioned at the beginning goes in the bottom there. The advantage with this very coarse steel wool is that if you push it down, it's easy to pull out, which meant that in doing that, it reduced a lot of the road noise, and it also enables me periodically, probably once every 6 months or every 12 months, to pull this out, give it a rinse and put it back in. Just to be belt and braces, I also put a little piece down at the bottom section here. And that meant, apart from reducing the noise, it also meant that it stopped the ingress of dirty water going down as far as that, kept it up here. So that was my solution. I think other people may have other ideas, probably using some sort of foam, but for me, this proved to be the best alternative. So I hope this goes some way in explaining what I've done to ensure that the system is kept clean and, as best we can, reduce the noise.